We're just about 30 hours away from TikTok disappearing in the United States. So what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what we think is going to happen and what President Trump said about it today. But first, as always, I want to start with the facts. And they are this. President Trump has not announced a deal to sell TikTok. He has also not announced whether he is going to extend his executive order to give TikTok more time. If neither of those things happen by this Saturday, that's it. It's over for TikTok. Now, while he was on Air Force One this afternoon, he was asked about what is going to happen with TikTok. And here is how he responded. Keep in mind, he was just talking about tariffs right before he said this.
What's the update on the deal negotiations for TikTok?
We're very close to a deal with a very good group of people for TikTok.
Larry Ellison and Oracle? Is it multiple investors? Just
multiple.
And then did the last minute bids kind of throw things into disarray for you, or do you have your strategy completely locked up on who's going to...
Which last minute?
On acquiring TikTok.
No, I think that China maybe will call and say, well, we're upset with the tariffs, and maybe they want to get something a little bit in order to get TikTok approved. Who knows?
Is there plans underway to speak to Xi?
I have no knowledge of that.
So now, based on what he said, let me explain what he's talking about. There's been widespread reporting that the deal the president is considering is a little convoluted, but stick with me here. You heard him say the deal that's close is amongst a very good group of investors. Those investors include most of the big investors who are already invested in TikTok and its parent company, ByteDance. Chief among them, Oracle. That's why Trump shook his head yes when he was asked if Larry Ellison was involved. Ellison is the founder of Oracle. And as I reported in my exclusive special report on TikTok's data security, Oracle is already TikTok's cloud partner, so it makes sense to have Oracle involved here. And according to the reporting, the idea is there would be this new independent TikTok company that these investors would have a bigger stake in, therefore reducing the proportion of the Chinese and other investors in the company. And this new independent TikTok company would then lease the ByteDance algorithm, not buy it, lease it. Now, on its face, this deal would solve several issues. One, it reduces the perception of China's control over TikTok through ByteDance here in the United States. Remember, the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act says there needs to be a qualified divestiture of TikTok by ByteDance. And the idea was to remove what Congress believed was China's influence on the app. But the law also says it's up to the President of the United States to determine what that qualified divestiture looks like. The other problem this alleged deal solves is the idea of the leasing of the algorithm. As I've been reporting for years, China put algorithms on an export control list in 2022 and said those cannot be sold outside of China. So if President Trump forced a sale of TikTok, technically the algorithm could not go with it. And that's not going to work. So this lease idea is an interesting one. Now, there are several glaring problems with this deal. One, whether this is the deal the president agrees to or not, it's not going to be done by Saturday. There's absolutely no way to complete a massive deal like this in that kind of time frame. So it's very possible the president will sort of announce a deal and then extend the deadline for TikTok again to put the finishing touches and sign the deal. Two, if this is the deal that Trump ultimately goes with, the problem is we also have not heard anything from China. We've not heard anything from ByteDance. We've not heard anything from TikTok about whether they even want to get involved in this. This deal's happening on the U.S. side only. You have to understand, TikTok, ByteDance, and ultimately China also get a say in all of this. Would they even agree to lease the algorithm? Who knows? I think that's probably why Trump keeps bringing up this idea that he could dangle the reduction of tariffs in front of China to maybe get them to agree. Now, whether that'll work or not, who knows? And glaring problem number 3 with this, would a deal like this even be legal? Would it satisfy the requirements of a qualified divestiture in the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act? The law says no foreign adversary can own more than a 20% stake in this company. So how much of a stake would ByteDance retain in a deal like this? The other question is, would it satisfy the political fears that an overwhelming number of Republicans and Democrats have about TikTok? Several Republicans have already publicly said that this potential deal is not good enough for them. But to be fair, if we look back at recent history, once the president sets his sights on something, those Republicans usually fall in line. So I would not put a lot of stake into that. The bottom line here is this. We've got, as I said, about 30 hours before things really hit the fan. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's in charge of these negotiations, says that we will get some kind of announcement before Saturday's deadline. So I am expecting something to be announced tomorrow.